Welcome to the Signature Sip podcast, a real estate podcast with myself, John Steingraber, and my beautiful wife, Michelle Pais. Cheers to the beginning of Signature Sip. I feel like now we're back and we have a lot to give. We have a lot to offer.
Till this day, by the way, I have to say, the excitement happens the second I land the deal, not when I get paid. It's the art of the deal, landing that up.
Right, it's the chase. Not only are we going to be giving a lot of wisdom and knowledge and experiences and stories, but we're going to bring on guests.
I bartended, babe, so something that you and I have in common, even though...
Babe, you bartended for how long?
3 months?
A day or two?
It's a podcast.
So you were like eating a tosta mista in Emily's bakery.
I think I was having a pastel de nata.
Okay, pastel de nata.
And a galon.
And if you're a realtor, if you're an investor, you're going to want to subscribe to this podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to the latest and newest episode of the Signature Sip. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Today, we have a very special guest. But before I make the introduction, John and I are always thinking about creative ways of really, having these special guests come on and just providing a ton of value for our listeners. The majority of our listeners are in the real estate world. And today, we wanted to invite Darwin Roman because... before the introduction, he had actually reached out to me a couple months ago about being on the cover. So Darwin owns Central Jersey Real Producers magazine, which, by the way, is incredible. I love what you're doing, and I think this is really like a game changer for the real estate agents that want to be featured. I have been on the cover of various magazines, and my very first one I actually paid for. It was a paid cover. It was Top Agent magazine. This was maybe 6 or 7 years ago. I think it was like $2,500 to be on the cover. Then all of a sudden, I should have owned stock in their company after that because every other real estate agent decided that they wanted to be on the cover. And it became a thing for so many years, and then eventually it died out. But Darwin, awesome. Love what you're doing. Tell us about yourself. How did you even get started in this?
Oh, that's a story in itself. But thanks so much for having me on this show. Excited to be here. Congratulations again on being featured on the front cover. You definitely deserved it. And we're going to go into the story how about even that came about, right? Because that's a story in itself. But I came across this opportunity through a friend of mine who actually runs the publication of Real Producers in Philadelphia. And I met him through networking, and he approached me because the company was looking to expand and looking for franchisees. And they said, hey, his name's Josh. He said, Josh, do you know anybody in New Jersey that could be taking over a territory? We're looking at Central Jersey as one of them. And he goes, you know what? I'm thinking. He goes, Darwin, you came right to my mind because of the fact that you've been out there, you're networking, you're talking to people anyway within the real estate world, even though I'm not a realtor per se, right? He said, but you have these contacts, and not to mention the fact that you've already been in business on your own, and you know how to run events. And I said, okay, great. So let me look at this model. Took a look at the model. And I said, this makes a lot of sense. If anything, I feel like some of the gifts I've gotten in my life, I need to use. One of them is being able to connect people, build relationships, put people together. And I said, this is an excellent platform for me to do that. Not to mention the fact that I have a real high admiration for those who just crush it in this real estate game because it's something that I admire, right? So I said, you know what? If this is going to be a platform that's going to highlight realtors, a real estate practitioner, especially in what I found out now, the climate that as professionals you're living in right now, and be able to advocate for that. I said, I want to get involved in this. And that's how it started.
Nice.
And so how long has Central Jersey Real Producers been going? When did you start this?
Well, the first issue came out in July of last year.
Okay.
So we're barely a year in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. A year in?
Barely, yep.
Oh,
July.
wow.
This July will be our 12th issue, our first anniversary issue.
Nice. Congrats.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
What makes Central Jersey Real Producers stand out? So tell us the difference between this magazine and all the other real estate magazines.
Good question. There's actually in the notes, in the publisher's note in the magazine, it actually talks about this. The 3 things that make Real Producers magazine different within the marketplace of print media. Number 1, you can't buy the magazine. You can't subscribe to the magazine. The magazine's mailed out to the top 500 realtors within Central Jersey, for example. And so in order for you to receive the magazine, you have to be put on that list, right? That's number 1. Number 2, as a realtor, you don't have the option of paying a Real Producers publisher the chance to be featured in the magazine. We only do it through criteria, through qualification. So yes, I remember before we talked about that a little bit, is there are certain numbers that we're looking for to be able to feature a realtor in the magazine. So that's number 2. Number 3 is that we do host live social events where we invite 2 parties in that. Number 1 is the top 500 realtors that receive this magazine on a monthly basis get invited to the event, as well as the realtors that were featured in the magazine. And the preferred partners in the magazine that are currently advertising also receive an invitation. Those are the title companies, the lenders, the real estate attorneys, the home inspectors, the insurance brokers. They get a chance to come to this live social event.
Meet and greet. Network.
Get to network with each other. And that's it. So meaning that the third thing is you cannot buy a ticket to our event. You have to be invited. It's exclusive VIP event that we put together just for the magazine.
And how often does this event?
Every 3 to 4 months.
Okay, cool.
So my next one will be coming up soon. Yeah. I'll be sending out invitations for sure. And we'll be honoring those who have been featured so far this year. So hope you can make it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We're excited about that. Thank you. And I guess, so the question is for the listeners out there, if you are a real estate agent and you're not one of the top 500, so is this based on a production, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Okay. So GCI.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. One of the ways we use it, and I know not every realtor, I learned this a while back, not every realtor participates in Circle of Excellence.
Yeah.
But we'll use Circle of Excellence level numbers to figure out who can be featured in the magazine.
Yeah, you can also find out those that apply for Real Trends. So if they're not in the Circle of Excellence, Real Trends, they come out every year with the top,
Or Broker Metrics.
Yeah, Broker Metrics, Real Trends, but you don't have to subscribe to that. I mean, you have to subscribe to Broker Metrics, but Real Trends is you have the top agents in the state, and so
they apply for that, right?
They have to apply for that, yeah. So if I'm a realtor out there and I'm listening to you and I want my face on a cover, how do I qualify?
Well, those are the numbers we're looking for. So let's just say use Circle of Excellence for an example, right? Every magazine has 3 articles. 2 of them feature realtors. The first one is the front cover article. So for the front cover article, we're looking for somebody that's been at least at that platinum or gold level for that kind of article. The rising star is the other article, and that's typically an agent that's been in the industry, let's say for 5 plus or minus years. It could be 7, could be 3, right? But they've reached the level of, say, bronze or silver. And we'll feature them in the magazine as well as the rising star. The third article is what's called a preferred partner spotlight. And those are our preferred partners that are currently in the magazine advertising. And through a rotation, we'll do a spotlight on them. So whether they're the lender, title, inspector, whoever, we'll also put it together an article for them so they can also get that kind of exposure within the readership community. Exactly. But how do they even get like in the magazine or even hear about it, or even I hear about them? Nominations are a big thing. You know, nominations are some of our partners will nominate some of the realtors they work with that I haven't met, and we'll do a one-on-one conversation. I'll hear their story and talk about what they've done and who they are. And you know, I never would have thought I would have found myself in this position as a publisher, because now I find myself acting as a role of a journalist. I'm hearing their story, and some of them are crazy. I mean, there have been stories of love where the recent feature for April, she met her husband when she was a flight attendant on American Airlines, and they fell in love like that. He was a pilot. So think about that. It was like a Hallmark story. This lady told me, right? So that was great. To the very dramatic where one woman was a victim of domestic violence. Not to go too much detail, but her husband attempted to murder her and he went to jail. But then she stopped the business for a year, came back, reinvented herself, built the team, and they're being one of the top teams within her brokerage within a year after that. So it was like these it's just the high spectrum of stories that I get to hear are incredible. So that's the part that I love about this too. Yeah.
And everybody has a story.
Oh, that's what I'm learning. Everybody has a story. And so, but the story, in order for me to hear that story, reach out. That's all I tell people. Listen, in that magazine, if you go on the website, even for realproducersmag.com, you'll be able to find a local publication in your area. And in there, you'll be able to see who the publisher is. And on there, you'll find me and you'll find my email. If you find my email, all you gotta do is email me and say, hey, my name's John. I'm a realtor. I actually did silver, gold, platinum last year.
Why don't you just give them your email?
I can give my email too. Darwin.Roman@n2co.com.
N2 like?
N, yeah, the letter N, the number 2, co.com.
Perfect.
Yeah. So reach out.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of signature agents are going to be reaching out.
Like, I need feature me. And then from there through that process, like, hey, you know what? I'd love to feature. Let's talk about it first. Let me hear your story.
Right, of course.
And going through that process to say, you know what? Yeah, you have a great story. Let's talk about possibly featuring an upcoming issue. If they get selected though, we put together the article and we also provide the photography. So the realtor doesn't pay for the article to be put together. And then also we provide a photo shoot for them and they can keep that file for themselves, for whatever they want.
Yeah,
so
this is not paid, guys. So if you are honored to be on the magazine, it is an honor because it's not paid for. So that actually brings me to my next question. So why would a realtor, first of all, why would a realtor want PR? I'm going to answer that.
Go ahead. I'd love to hear your story on that. Just think of that.
And then, do you always have to pay for a magazine cover? So there are a lot, and I get a lot of requests for people like, I want to feature on the magazine. I want to feature on the magazine. I'll be honest with you, if it's paid, I'm not interested, right? Because there's something to be said about paid media and earned media, and I'm all about earned media. In the beginning, however, if you haven't earned the right, then you have to pay to play.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So don't be embarrassed about the fact that, you know what, I may have to pay for my first cover. I did. Top Agent magazine. I paid $2,500, right? And guess what? It was the best investment that I ever made because from that magazine cover, it went on a billboard. I mailed it to every single resident that lived in the town that I was servicing, and I just leveraged that magazine to really just build my brand, build my business, get more listings. So that $2,500 investment made me hundreds of thousands of dollars from that one investment, okay? But you have to also learn how to leverage, right? So I am a big believer in PR. And, John, do you want to, you were so quiet over there today. Like, feel free to say something.
This is your playhouse.
No, a PR. But I have to say something. Marketing and PR, I always did it since I got into the business. I always a big believer in that. But I doubled down probably after I met John. I think you gave me the confidence in investing in myself, in the business. A lot of agents don't lack that confidence. They don't want to put themselves out there. They don't want to spend the money. But I've said this before, the best investment that you can make is in yourself, not in some stock, right? So what are your thoughts on that?
The best investment is your image, is your brand. You know what? It's your card. The people buy your smile. They don't buy the company, right? At the end of the day, they're buying you.
Right.
They're buying you.
Yeah.
So if they don't know who you are and they don't recognize you, then how they're going to know how to reach out to you? And especially there's an old saying with the group BNI, right? Visibility creates credibility, leads to profitability. What do you mean we're profitable? You got to be more credible. If you're more credible, you got to be more visible. If people don't know who you are, I've never seen you before, how's the business going to happen, right? It just becomes a lot easier if you're that much. And that's where I came in with using this platform. Sure, I use it for myself too. I just use it for my visibility as well. And not to mention the fact that I'm involved with organizations where I put myself in leadership positions on purpose so I can get that formula working for me. Right.
You're the president of the Latino Chamber of Commerce, right? So we didn't really give his intro. He's a son of Ecuadorian immigrants, right?
Yes.
You served in the United States Marine Corps.
Yes.
So thank you for your service.
Appreciate that.
That's amazing. And, he obviously learned a lot and he built a foundation off of everything that he learned in the military, both professionally and personally. And he is the president of the Latino Chamber of Commerce, owner of Central Jersey Real Producers territory of this magazine. And you also do financial services in the New York metro area, right?
Yes.
So, PR it's all networking, right? I love what Michelle does with PR because it's different. It's a form of advertising, right? When you're doing press releases, when you're doing magazine covers, when you're getting an article written about you. And to give a specific example of the ripple effects that something like this can have, Eliani Longi, she is now our broker manager at our Westfield office.
I don't think I've ever. Okay.
She's an awesome agent. She actually worked for a book publisher.
Oh, okay.
And she got something in the mail, or she picked it up somewhere along the way, and she flipped to a page and she read an article about Michelle Pais. And that day, she said that she decided to become a realtor, but only if she could work for Michelle Pais and for her company. And, Eliani is amazing, and she's a huge asset to the company, and that attracted her, right? Learning her story. So it's not just about having the magazine cover, right? Which I think is important, because if you leverage that correctly and you have an article, magazines today don't just have a physical product. It's an online product. Right. And that online product leads to search engine optimization. So now when somebody's Googling your name, a publication, whether you paid for that or you didn't, it's popping up. It doesn't say, oh, they paid for this one, this article, right? It doesn't say that. No. Nobody knows whether you paid for it or if you didn't pay for it.
Right.
All people know is that you're in this magazine.
And you're on the cover.
And you're either on the cover or you're in the magazine, and there's an article written about you. And if you do what you did, because that's what you did best, is you took something that you earned, right, in this case, or in the first case, something that you paid for, you leveraged it. You sent it out to everybody, right? The magazine only has the visibility that the magazine has. And we all know that magazines nowadays, right, they're only going out to a certain amount of people. Not everybody's going to open them and read them. But if you do a good job, like Michelle did, and you leverage that, I think that's the biggest opportunity that you have, because now that says something about you. Just like if you get featured on Forbes or Inc. 5000, like we did, as fastest growing companies, in the top 5,000. So things like that are really huge. And there's a huge difference between advertising and purposefully doing PR. And I don't think a lot of people spend enough time on that PR piece, right? And Michelle's also done it with big listings that she's gotten, right? So that's something, I don't know if you have that as part of the Real Producers section. Maybe you have like the $1 million mansions or something like that, like some of these other organizations have, like the New York Times, et cetera. Those are pieces that you can now leverage because you're leveraging that home, right? If you get a huge listing by a celebrity, you could probably do some PR. I mean, she did one and she got on TMZ, right? And they were talking about, when they listed Signature Realty NJ and Michelle Pais, and the listing, of course, because of that house, but it was because it was tied to that celebrity. Got it. So once you understand that PR plays, it leads to other opportunities. So it's an asset, right? Whether you're paying for it or you get featured, look at it as an asset, as an opportunity to build SEO and build credibility, like you were saying.
Absolutely. But I think to get featured, if you want to earn it, that comes from production. That comes from, people want... There's a quote that we posted. It says, no one cares about your story until you win, so win. Right?
Yes.
Because no one cares.
Yep.
So, everybody has a story.
And everybody has a story. And, some of these stories are very inspiring.
So what are you looking for? Like if people want to reach out to be on the cover or as in the rising star field, you want people to reach out and just like send you a video, send you text, set up a Zoom call with you?
It's either the three. Sending a video would be actually out of the box would be great, but they can send me a text, send me an email, and we just do a Zoom call or even meet face to face depending on where they are, and just go from there and just have a conversation and just hear about their story and then see if they're a good fit to be featured in the magazine. Yeah.
Awesome.
And it comes out once a month.
Once a month.
So you're only featuring 12 agents per year plus
24 because
you get the rising star one.
Right.
Nice.
Eventually that'll grow because there's other publications that have like 3 sections. Like they'll call, I think the Philly one has the front cover, the rising star, and then like an agent to watch. Right. Or like agent on fire. That's like somebody a little bit younger, or a little younger in the business, so to speak. But they're making a wave already. Like that maybe it's their first year and they already sold, 10 houses. Okay, that's somebody to watch, right?
Right.
Things like that.
Rising star,
I know he has, and I love his content. I can't wait to do this. Like he'll do something like a 35 under 35, the top 35 agents under 35.
That's cool.
Things like Philadelphia.
Oh, that's cool.
But he's been around for now 4 years, right? So it's like I'm getting there, so I'm excited to be able to start putting that kind of content together.
This isn't like your full-time only thing that you do.
Right, it's not. But I really would love to build the content, and those are the ideas that will be coming down the road too.
Yeah, and inside the magazine for the people that you mail it to their offices.
Yes.
Right. So if you are listening and you're one of the top 500 in the Central Jersey area that you get this, make sure that you look at, when you get mail at your office, get it. Right.
Yeah.
Can people send their home address to you?
They could if they want to. Because you know what? We don't find that online, right?
Right.
So,
Of course.
Yeah.
Online, you have their name and their info and then their office address.
Right. But they could if they wanted to. Sometimes I would actually recommend some realtors that are in that market to send us their current address, because some of them may have moved offices and we don't find that out just yet. So it may be a disconnect. Yeah.
Right.
You just said something about the 35 under
35.
This is how you know that you're aging. Let me just tell you. So recently I got a email about being nominated for 50 under 50.
Oh, right, here we go.
And I remember when I got the 30 under 30 and then the 40 under 40. But when I saw that big 50, it freaked me out. I was like, whoa, I am not applying for this one. No thanks. Not applying. That big 50 number freaked me out. So
I think what's going to freak us all out is when
you got to own it.
When we start getting AARP solicitations, that's when we start freaking out.
Oh my God. I was like, no, not applying for this one. Imagine Michelle Pais, 50 under 50. It's not something I would
change the title. 50 way under 50. Put it that way. Yeah.
It's a lot of credibility right there.
No,
you're the first one.
Maybe when I'm 49.
No, but you're the first one to be like, I've been in the business 25 years. I'm like, no, you haven't.
What do you mean? It sounds better when you say you've been in the business for over 20 years than it does for 50 under 50. I'm just saying the 20 versus the 50, it's all psychological here. I mean, but I also started really, really young. Babe.
No, I know.
Just, like out of the womb.
It's been 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years. So, all right. So you guys, you got some tips for applying for Darwin's magazine. If you are a producer,
make sure you're reading the magazine, because I imagine there's good content in there.
Look at her article's great.
What about guest writers?
Yeah, sometimes we have. Yeah, eventually down the road. Right.
Got it.
Yep. As we're definitely building the magazine out.
And then you also have vendors,
right? And that's the other
part. Are potential advertisers in this magazine that go out to 500 people. Yeah.
And I also advise my partners. And it's funny, I have to tell them, hey, when you have a chance, could you read your magazine? They're like, oh yeah, like I should start reading. Yeah, read it. Like,
I read it.
Right.
It's just funny about reading other people, and then you'll be surprised what you'll learn about some other people's stories.
Of course. Yeah.
And I've read and I've gotten feedback from other realtors like, wow, I'm so glad that you mentioned this particular story. And so you'll never know also what realtors reading that can relate and say, hey, you know what? I'm from the same background as well. I'm so glad that you're highlighting this kind of story. It means a lot.
What would be really cool, and I'm just going to give you an idea.
Sure, yeah.
Is doing a Real Producers podcast. Right.
Ooh.
So if you did a podcast and you invited agents onto your podcast that were featured or that are a rising star, and now people are getting the exposure online on video, on your, Spotify account, on your YouTube account, and here, and you could do the same thing with your vendors, right? Because they all can talk about the different programs that they have. That might not be a bad idea.
That's definitely the direction I want to head.
Podcasting.
Yes.
Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Well, you live in Roselle Park.
Yeah.
But do you have an office?
I have a satellite office I use in Cranford.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right, well, Darwin, thanks so much. This was awesome.
No problem. Thank you.
How can people find you? Give us your email. Give us your website.
Yeah, so darwin.roman@n2co.com is the best email to use me, reach me for the magazine. We also have an Instagram account right now at Central Jersey Rural Producers. You can find us there. You'll find also your picture on there too as well, Michelle, right, from the feature. And then the website is realproducersmag.com, and you can just search us there for Central Jersey. It's just by state, and you can find me there. And it's just a couple ways to find me. And then, of course, on my personal Instagram as well, or Facebook, just Darwin Roman on Facebook, and easily find me there too.
Nice. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for
my
your
honor.
service.
I
And thank you for having Michelle on the cover.
It's exciting. I'm excited. This is one of the most fun features. I mean, seriously. And it just came back full circle. I mean, we connected in certain events. And when we saw each other at the last event, I said, you know what? We got to talk about this.
That was the Deals and Heels event?
Well, you spoke.
We met at the Deals and Heels event. And
Correct.
I was a speaker there, a panelist. And then it was the
Latinos in Real Estate.
That's right. Latinos
Oh,
in Real
that's
Estate.
right. Yeah. Okay.
And then when I was there, I brought another realtor's front cover that was blown up from the previous event.
That's right.
And I pointed, I said, Michelle, I need you on there. And you were like, okay, all right. How does that work? I was like, let's talk. I'm like, not now, but let's talk. And that's how I was like, you know what, we got to do this.
Yeah, and Anthony, by the way, shout him out. Anthony
Rivera, the singing realtor.
Did a great job with the photo shoot and everything else.
He has a heart of gold, the guy.
Yes.
And at our holiday party.
Yeah.
Yes. And let me know about your grand opening. I'm definitely love to come support.
Which one? We had a few.
Yeah, we have a few coming up.
Okay, well, let me know.
you know.
Whichever,
Thank you, Darwin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
My
Okay.
pleasure. Thank you.